The world watched, eyes wide with apprehension as the flames of war engulfed East Asia. It was 1937, a time of global uncertainty, when the echoes of the Great War still reverberated in the hearts of nations. The Second Sino-Japanese War, a conflict brutal and vast, exploded onto the world stage, forever altering the destinies of China, Japan, and the very course of human history. This was not just a regional clash, it was a prelude to a global conflict, a harbinger of the devastating world war that would soon follow. This is a story of resilience, of courage in the face of overwhelming odds. It is a story of ordinary men and women thrust into extraordinary circumstances, forced to grapple with the horrors of war. It is a story of strategic blunders and tactical brilliance, of political machinations and military maneuvers. Above all, it is a story of the human spirit, tested to its limits, yet refusing to be extinguished. This is not a story often told, not in its entirety. The Second Sino-Japanese War has often been overshadowed by the global conflict that followed, its significance dimmed by the enormity of World War II. But this war, brutal and bloody as it was, deserves its own space in our collective memory. It is a story that needs to be told, a story that needs to be remembered. The impact of this war, though often overlooked, was profound and far-reaching. It reshaped the geopolitical landscape of East Asia, leaving scars that remain visible to this day. It laid bare the fault lines in the international system, exposing the fragility of peace in a world teetering on the brink of chaos. The Second Sino-Japanese War, though often relegated to the footnotes of history, was a pivotal chapter in the human story, a chapter that deserves to be read, understood, and never forgotten. The night of July 7, 1937, was heavy with tension. Near the Marco Polo Bridge, a vital link between Beijing and the outside world, Japanese and Chinese troops faced off in a tense standoff. A shot rang out, its origin shrouded in the darkness, and the fragile peace shattered. The incident, seemingly minor, ignited a conflagration that would consume East Asia for years to come. The Japanese, already occupying Manchuria since 1931, saw an opportunity to expand their dominion over China. The Marco Polo Bridge incident, whether a genuine misunderstanding or a calculated provocation, provided the pretext for a full-scale invasion. Chinese forces, ill-equipped and disorganized, fought bravely, but were ultimately no match for the modernized Japanese military. Beijing fell quickly, followed by Tianjin and other key cities. The Chinese government, led by Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek, was forced to retreat inland, establishing a new capital in the city of Chongqing. The Japanese advance seemed unstoppable, their military machine sweeping across the vast expanse of China. But the Chinese people, though battered and bruised, refused to surrender. The Marco Polo Bridge incident marked a turning point in history, the moment when a local skirmish escalated into a regional war, a war that would soon become part of a larger global conflict. It was a moment that revealed the ambitions of Imperial Japan, their desire for dominance in Asia, and their willingness to use force to achieve their goals. The world watched in horror as the flames of war engulfed China, a harbinger of the dark times that lay ahead. December 13, 1937. Nanking, the capital of the Republic of China, fell to the invading Japanese forces. What followed was a 6-week period of unimaginable horror, a systematic campaign of violence and brutality that would forever stain the annals of human history. The rape of Nanking, a term that barely captures the scale of the atrocities, remains a chilling reminder of the dark side of humanity. Japanese soldiers, emboldened by their victory and fueled by a toxic mix of nationalism and racial superiority, unleashed a reign of terror upon the defenseless city. Tens of thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of civilians were massacred, their lives extinguished in an orgy of violence. Women were subjected to horrific sexual violence, their dignity and humanity violated in the most barbaric ways imaginable. The streets of Nanking ran red with blood, the air thick with the stench of death and decay. The Japanese military, despite attempts by some within its ranks to restrain the violence, turned a blind eye to the atrocities being committed. The world, preoccupied with its own troubles, remained largely silent, failing to intervene or condemn the horrors unfolding in Nanking. The rape of Nanking stands as a stark testament to the brutality of war, a reminder of the darkness that can consume the human heart in times of conflict. It is a story of suffering and loss, a story of resilience and survival, a story that must never be forgotten. The scars of Nanking run deep, a permanent reminder of the consequences of unchecked aggression and the fragility of human civilization. The summer of 1937 saw another clash that shook the world, the Battle of Shanghai. This wasn't a swift victory for Japan. The Chinese, determined to defend their economic heart, fought with fierce tenacity, turning the city into a bloody battleground. Shanghai became a symbol of Chinese resistance, a testament to the courage of a nation facing a formidable foe. The battle raged for 3 grueling months, turning the bustling metropolis into a mangled wreck. The Chinese, though outnumbered and outgunned, inflicted heavy casualties on the Japanese, defying expectations and shattering the myth of Japanese invincibility. The streets of Shanghai, once teeming with life and commerce, were transformed into a labyrinth of rubble and death. The Battle of Shanghai, though ultimately a defeat for the Chinese, proved to be a strategic victory. It bought precious time for the Chinese government to relocate inland, preserving its ability to continue the fight. More importantly, it demonstrated to the world that China would not be easily subdued, that its people were determined to resist Japanese aggression, no matter the cost. The Battle of Shanghai was a turning point in the war, a moment when the Chinese people demonstrated their unwavering resolve. It was a battle fought with courage and determination, a testament to the human spirit's ability to withstand even the most overwhelming odds. The echoes of that battle still resonate, a reminder of the cost of freedom and the enduring spirit of a nation that refused to be broken. As the Japanese military juggernaut rolled across China, another war was being waged in the shadows. The Chinese resistance, a diverse and decentralized network of guerrilla fighters, emerged from the countryside, determined to harass and disrupt the enemy. They were farmers, students, shopkeepers, ordinary men and women who answered the call to defend their homeland. Armed with whatever weapons they could scavenge, the guerrillas launched surprise attacks on Japanese patrols, sabotaged supply lines, and gathered intelligence. They were masters of camouflage and deception, melting into the landscape, striking swiftly, and vanishing without a trace. The Japanese, used to conventional warfare, found themselves entangled in a frustrating and costly guerrilla war. The guerrilla war was a crucial element of the Chinese resistance. It not only inflicted casualties and disrupted Japanese operations, but also served as a symbol of hope for the Chinese people. The guerrillas, though operating in the shadows, became folk heroes, their exploits whispered in hushed tones, their courage celebrated in secret. The Chinese resistance, a tapestry woven from countless acts of individual courage and sacrifice, demonstrated the resilience of the human spirit in the face of tyranny. It was a war fought not on vast battlefields, but in the hearts and minds of the Chinese people, a war that kept the flame of resistance burning bright even in the darkest of times. In the autumn of 1938, the Japanese launched a massive offensive aimed at capturing Wuhan, a major industrial and transportation hub. The Battle of Wuhan, one of the largest and most costly battles of the war, raged for 4 grueling months, drawing in vast numbers of troops from both sides. The Chinese, though facing a superior enemy, were determined to defend the city to the last. The battle was fought on land, in the air, and on the mighty Yangtze River. Chinese forces, bolstered by Soviet aid and inspired by the spirit of resistance, fought with tenacity, inflicting heavy casualties on the Japanese. But the Japanese military, with its superior firepower and logistical capabilities, gradually gained the upper hand. In October 1938, the Chinese government made the difficult decision to withdraw from Wuhan, opting for a strategic retreat to preserve their forces and continue the fight. The Battle of Wuhan, though a tactical defeat, served as a strategic victory, buying precious time for the Chinese to regroup and reorganize. It also demonstrated to the world that China would not be easily subdued, that its people were prepared to fight for their freedom, no matter the cost. The Battle of Wuhan was a pivotal moment in the war, a testament to the courage and resilience of the Chinese people. It was a battle fought with blood and sweat, a battle that left an indelible mark on the landscape of China and the course of the war. The echoes of that battle still resonate, a reminder of the sacrifices made and the determination of a nation that refused to surrender. With the Japanese blockade of China's coast, a lifeline emerged from the southwest. The Burma Road, a treacherous mountain highway carved through the rugged terrain between Burma and China, became a vital artery for supplies and reinforcements. Over this road, trucks laden with ammunition, medicine, and other essentials snaked their way through perilous mountain passes, braving enemy attacks and natural disasters to reach the beleaguered Chinese forces. The construction of the Burma Road was a feat of engineering and human endurance. Thousands of laborers, many of them women, toiled tirelessly, using rudimentary tools to carve a road through the dense jungle and treacherous mountains. The road, though fraught with danger, became a symbol of hope for the Chinese people, a tangible reminder that they were not alone in their struggle. The Burma Road became a lifeline for the Chinese war effort, a vital conduit for the flow of supplies and personnel. It was a testament to the ingenuity and determination of the Chinese people, a physical manifestation of their will to resist. The road, though eventually cut off by the Japanese advance, served as a crucial link to the outside world, a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. The Burma Road stands as a symbol of resilience and international cooperation, a reminder that even in the midst of war, the bonds of humanity can endure. It is a testament to the power of human will, the ability to overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles in the pursuit of freedom and self-determination. While the world's attention was focused on the unfolding events in Europe, a lifeline arrived from an unexpected source: the Soviet Union. Motivated by a shared interest in containing Japanese expansionism, the Soviets provided crucial military and economic aid to the Chinese government. Soviet aircraft, pilots, and military advisors arrived in China, bolstering the beleaguered Chinese Air Force and providing valuable training and expertise. The Soviet contribution, though often overlooked, played a significant role in sustaining the Chinese war effort. Soviet aircraft, flown by both Soviet and Chinese pilots, engaged in numerous dogfights with Japanese planes, providing air cover for Chinese troops and disrupting Japanese bombing raids. Soviet military advisors shared their experience and knowledge with their Chinese counterparts, helping to improve Chinese military tactics and strategies. The Soviet aid, though motivated by strategic considerations, provided a much-needed boost to the morale of the Chinese people. It demonstrated that China was not alone in its struggle against Japanese aggression, that other nations recognized the importance of resisting Japanese expansionism. The Soviet contribution, though often overshadowed by later events, played a crucial role in shaping the course of the war and the future of East Asia. The Soviet Union's decision to aid China, though driven by its own geopolitical calculations, had a profound impact on the war and its aftermath. It demonstrated the complex interplay of national interests and ideological considerations that shaped the international system in the 1930s, a system on the brink of a global conflict that would redefine the world order. As the war raged on, another group of volunteers arrived from across the Pacific, their arrival heralded by the roar of powerful engines and the glint of shark-tooth insignia. The American Volunteer Group, better known as the Flying Tigers, were a squadron of American pilots recruited to bolster the Chinese Air Force. Led by the charismatic Claire Lee Sheno, the Flying Tigers quickly gained a reputation for their daring exploits and their effectiveness against the Japanese Air Force. The Flying Tigers, flying American-made P-40 Warhawk fighter planes, employed innovative tactics and strategies, taking advantage of the P-40's strengths to counter the maneuverability of the Japanese fighters. They engaged in numerous dogfights with Japanese planes, scoring impressive victories and inspiring the Chinese people with their courage and skill. The Flying Tigers, though relatively small in number, had a significant impact on the air war over China. They inflicted heavy losses on the Japanese Air Force, bolstering Chinese morale and demonstrating the potential of American air power. Their exploits became legendary, capturing the imagination of people in both China and the United States. The Flying Tigers, a symbol of American support for China, represented a growing awareness in the United States of the threat posed by Japanese expansionism. Their arrival, though initially a private venture, foreshadowed the eventual entry of the United States into the war against Japan, a conflict that would have profound implications for the future of Asia and the world. The Second Sino-Japanese War, though a brutal and costly conflict, had a profound impact on the development of modern China. The war, despite its tragedies and hardships, forged a new sense of national unity and purpose. The Chinese people, from all walks of life, united in their resistance against Japanese aggression, demonstrating a resilience and determination that would shape the future of their nation. The war experience led to the growth of Chinese nationalism, a shared sense of identity and purpose that transcended regional and social divisions. It also fostered a new generation of leaders, tempered by the fires of war and committed to building a stronger and more modern China. The sacrifices made during the war, though immeasurable, laid the foundation for the emergence of China as a major power in the post-war world. The legacy of the Second Sino-Japanese War is complex and multifaceted. It is a story of suffering and loss, but also a story of courage and resilience. It is a story of national humiliation, but also a story of national awakening. The war, though a tragic chapter in Chinese history, ultimately contributed to the emergence of a stronger and more unified China, a nation determined to claim its rightful place on the world stage. The Second Sino-Japanese War, though often overshadowed by the global conflict that followed, remains a pivotal event in modern Chinese history. It is a story that deserves to be remembered, a story that continues to shape the identity and aspirations of the Chinese people to this day. The Second Sino-Japanese War, though officially ending in 1945 with the conclusion of World War II, cast a long shadow over the post-war world. It left an indelible mark on the political landscape of East Asia, shaping the destinies of China, Japan, and other nations in the region. The memories of that war, though fading with time, continue to resonate, influencing relations between nations and shaping perceptions of the past. The war's legacy is complex and contested. In China, it is remembered as a time of national suffering and heroic resistance, a defining moment in the nation's history. In Japan, the war remains a source of controversy and debate, with differing interpretations of its causes and consequences. The echoes of that war, though often muted, continue to reverberate in the halls of government, in the pages of history books, and in the hearts and minds of people across East Asia. The Second Sino-Japanese War, though a regional conflict, had global implications. It was a prelude to World War II, a conflict that would engulf the entire world and reshape the international order. The lessons learned from that war about the costs of aggression, the importance of international cooperation, and the resilience of the human spirit remain relevant to this day. The Second Sino-Japanese War, though often overlooked in the grand narrative of human history, deserves its own space in our collective memory. It is a story that needs to be told, a story that needs to be understood, a story that reminds us of the fragility of peace and the enduring power of the human spirit.